helped successfully launch over 50 agencies with our Plum Partners model. Some questions for you. What are 3 really common themes you see amongst the agencies that you've been a part of that have just continued to be really successful year after year?
I would say the second thing is growing slowly and with structure. So making sure that, you're not just putting people on for the sake of it, that there's a real plan around who you're putting in your business and why. That sort of leads into the third thing. I would say invest in the right people and the right systems at the right time. The agent is the brand. So when we're building it, the whole discovery exercise is around learning who they are, what their strengths are out there in the marketplace, and we build the brand around them.
Agents, welcome to the Get Keen podcast, your number one destination for learning how to get the most out of your real estate career. I'm Dan Lee, founder of Plum Property, one of Queensland's largest independent real estate offices, and Plum Partners, where we've helped dozens of agents create, run and grow their very own agencies. On Get Keen, I chat to high-performing agents, principals and agency owners, so you have the tools, strategies and insights to grow your business and live the best life for yourself and your family. Now let's get keen. Here we are. We're keen. We're back on. And in today's episode, ladies and gents, it's going to focus on growing a real estate business from the ground up. And I have with me the one and only Jess Wagner. Now, you might not know who Jess Wagner is because Jess flies under the radar a little bit in the real estate world because she's never been a sales agent, but she's been surrounded by them for her whole career. And sales agents and selling principals, they get all the limelight in the real estate world. But Jess has actually played a huge role in building multiple real estate agencies from the ground up. Originally from Toowoomba, being the EA of a principal of a startup there, a residential real estate business, and helped them to build a business into a 20-person team from the ground up, writing millions in GCI. And when she moved to Brisbane 6 years ago, it only took me one meeting to realize I'd found a unicorn, and I hired her into my Plum Property business, where she worked as my EA, but then moved on from that role to become office manager, and then took the venture with me to launch the Plum Partners business in 2022. And since then, she's been responsible for onboarding and helping to launch and operate over 50 new real estate agencies. And through all these experiences, Jess is here to share some wisdom with us, what she has learned about the whole process of starting an agency, getting it off the ground, and making sure the business is on the right track. So Jess Wagner, thank you very much for being here.
Thank you, Dan. And for the record, Jess loves flying under the radar.
She does love flying under the radar. It was pretty hard for me to get her on this podcast. She almost had a vomit just before we started.
Yeah, I've ruined the rug.
Well, Jess, it's very true, everything I said. And being originally from Toowoomba, tell us about that first office that you were part of building.
Yeah, sure. So it was Collier's Toowoomba. Now, Collier's is mainly known as a commercial brand, but the director there, Dom Ryan, he's a really great residential sales agent. And he partnered with Dan Dwan to get that off the ground. And I was really lucky to join them at a team size of about 4. And it was over 10 years ago now, so I don't know the number when I left to move to Brizzy. But we grew a great team and a big team, and everyone was very successful in their own right. I think I got all my operational, groundwork there because the boys were so great at just sort of letting me run with it, and they were really great mentors. So shout out to them for, all the experience that they gave me when I found you.
Yeah, well, shout out to them for prepping you for my business, our business. And, you've also been a big part of the growth and success of Plum Property. You've helped successfully launch over 50 agencies with our Plum Partners model. Some questions for you. What are 3 really common themes you see amongst the agencies that you've been a part of that have just continued to be really successful year after year?
Okay. 3 things I would say. Firstly, stay dollar productive. So the principals that keep their eye on the prize and, focus on the right activities. So they protect their time, they focus on winning business, building relationships, and they either delegate or systemize everything else.
Well, that's important because we always talk about with in salespeople to do dollar productive activities. But that goes for the principal as well, and not just in sales?
I'd say that it goes for the principal as well, because when people come to us, they want to grow an agency, and recruitment is all about being the best version of yourself as a business leader, as a sales agent, so that other people want to join you. So yeah, definitely in the early days, it's about being the best agent that you can be and not getting tied up in too much operational stuff.
Yeah, that's a big mistake that we see a lot. And dollar productive activities for a principal doesn't necessarily have to be just sales either. It's growth activities.
Yes.
So for a sales agent, it's growing their sales listings, getting in front of more appointments. But for a principal, whilst they may do sales, a lot of principals don't do sales, or a lot of principals want to eventually, get out of sales. But they have to continue doing those dollar productive activities for the business for growth. And that can be things like recruiting, meeting agents.
Yeah. It's just building relationships all round for the business, for, your team, getting in front of as many people as you can.
Spending time on growing your salespeople as well. That's a growth activity for principals. What was number 2?
I would say the second thing is growing slowly and with structure. So making sure that, you're not just putting people on for the sake of it, that there's a real plan around who you're putting in your business and why. And then I would, that sort of leads into the third thing. I would say invest in the right people and the right systems at the right time, So just making sure that there's a plan around growing and that you've got, the right resource to support those people in your business, and they're not stepping into chaos, and that it's all sort of timed effectively.
Yeah, I like that be patient with the growth. Although we want to grow fast, I think some new business owners just get a little bit obsessed with putting more people on the team as quickly as possible. Like that means success. Oh, instead of having 4 people, I've got 12 people. I'm growing.
Yeah.
Whereas if none of these people have experience, they're not actually that good for the business. Now they're just it's wasting time and wasting resources,
pulling you away from the things that you should actually be doing. Correct. Just creating chaos.
So what are you noticing for agents starting their own thing? Because that's basically what you're doing all day now, is helping agents start their own business. What's the hardest thing for most of them to deal with in this process of starting their own?
I would say time management and newfound freedom. I think, we've had, conversations like this in the network before, where, maybe an agent's coming out of a business that was quite structured, and then they've got all this time on their hands because they're a business owner now and they can do it their way, making sure that they don't forget the fundamentals of what they should be doing day in and day out, and don't get too distracted.
Yeah, that really comes down to self-discipline, doesn't it? Yeah. And it can, you can't, if they come from a culture where there's very high performers and, there's expectations of their work ethic, and, they may not be being micromanaged all the time, but there's still eyes on them. And then going into having your own business, and now you're your own boss. No one's telling you where to come and go.
If you want to go to Friday lunch, go to Friday lunch.
Exactly. You want to knock off early. And no one is watching you. So when no one's watching you, how are you behaving as the owner of your business?
Yeah, correct.
So from your experience, what are the most common blind spots for agents transitioning to owners? Like, what do they typically underestimate or overlook in the initial planning phase?
I would say financial is one. So just getting really clear around the numbers. And I think, when people make the decision to start a business, sure, they look at the financials, but I think that sort of planning is a bit loose. I think that agents need to be really clear on the GCI that they need to write to make sure that they can, support themselves and support their growth plans. Yeah, I'd say that's a big one. I don't know. What else do we
Well, that
come
is
off?
a really big one. I mean, I think we have this chat a lot with the partners that we bring on. And year number one in owning your own brand and business is just survival, right? Survival and success of getting the wheels in motion. And you've got to have some targets of GCI that you got to hit, right? If you don't hit these certain targets, there's not going to be growth the next year. You're just going to be in the same place.
Yeah.
So it's knowing what those targets are. And I think for a brand, a new business with one agent out on their own with minimal overheads, 500 GCIs is kind of the bare minimum of where you need to be if you want to pay yourself some sort of salary, have a sales associate, have some money for a little bit of marketing, and have a little bit left over for some push into growth. Right.
I'd say I know another one that's prompted me, getting clear on the timelines of growth, which that sort of comes up a lot when people want to start rentals. It's part of the reason that people jump out and want to have their own business is because they want to grow a rent roll, and that's your asset, and that makes sense. But being really clear about when the right time to do that is, and not jumping into that too early. Like, it's all really exciting when you're your own business now, and someone comes to you and says, "Hey, I've got a rental property. Do you want to take care of it?" And you're like, "Oh, well, rentals was on the cards, but I'm not quite ready, but maybe I could be ready. Let's take that one rental on." That sort of stuff is not ideal. You need to be really structured when you want to branch out your business into other avenues
We've seen that mistake multiple times, haven't we? Yeah. And it's because of the naivety that sales agent doesn't really understand the rentals business. But they know that they can get leads easy, so they think that that's the hard bit. But the hard bit in rent... It's the opposite to sales and rentals. In sales, the hard bit is getting the listing, right? We work so hard to get those listings, and then the rest of the process is generally pretty straightforward and relatively easy. There might be some difficult vendors and buyers to deal with and some difficult negotiations sometimes, but that back end of the sales process, once that agency agreement is signed, is pretty straightforward. Whereas in rentals, the easy part is the signing, right? It's the opposite. The easy part, like owners of rental properties, they don't shop around that much. They don't care that much. It's not like a life-changing decision who they're going with for their rental property. If it doesn't work out, they'll just switch agencies. It's not like that in sales. If they get the sales agent wrong, if they choose the wrong strategy, there's tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars up for stake. So it's a big, big, big decision. On the rental side, they're just like, yeah, that sounds good, have it, right? So that bit's really easy. It's the taking care of it ongoing forever whilst you have it, which is the hard bit. And you need really good staff, really good systems, and you need a front runner of that business, don't you? Yeah,
correct. You absolutely need someone that's going to take charge of it so that you don't get pulled away from sales, and that person is going to be an investment. So, do you actually have the revenue to support putting that person on when there's going to be no income generated on those 5 rentals in the beginning?
Yeah. The biggest mistake we see with those rental business startups is the sales agent principal who's already working full-time in sales just going, well, I'll just manage the first 10. Terrible, terrible idea.
Yeah.
They get completely bogged down. They don't know what they're doing. Complete waste of time. Doesn't make any money. They're then scrambling to try and find staff and work it all out. And what do we see? Their sales business just completely collapses whilst they're trying to make this work.
Yeah.
So for anyone launching their own brand, what are the absolute non-negotiable legal and financial foundations they must have in place before they even think about opening their door?
Sure. Licensing, obviously your appropriate real estate license and corporate license. You need your insurance. And we actually talk to our partners not just about the business insurance, but, do they have appropriate personal insurance as well? Because you're going to be a business owner now. So what happens if something happens to you and then you can't work? I would say a good accountant and structure, you want to set your business up so that it's set up for the growth that you're hoping that you have, not just your situation right now. So that's another one. Have I missed anything there?
Yeah, no, not really. Like those are the bare essentials. Yeah.
When we start the branding process, we make sure that, we're covering all bases with your brand name, and then we're not taking something that's already out there or going to cause any, dramas for you down the track. So we give all the right advice. What you choose to do with that as an agent is up to you, but we give all the right advice around those sorts of things as well.
So you're an expert at launching new agencies. Can you walk us through the first 90 days of a new agency launch? What are the key milestones?
Hey guys, if you're loving this content, well, guess what? This is more. This is on-demand content. Listen whenever you want. But I actually do live webinars with the highest performing agents in Australia. They're interactive and you get to ask questions, and you even get materials that you can take home and implement into your business. If you're interested in joining one of these free webinars, have a look at the show notes and there'll be a link to our next one. Now let's get back to the episode.
Brand, digital presence, systems, training.
Okay.
Is essentially what we focus on. And there's, over 200 things in our checklist that form that whole process, but that's basically it. For me and the team here, successful onboarding isn't about trying to make all the agents that we meet fit into our checklist. It's really there's a lot of flex in how we onboard because every situation is different. Every agent has different needs. There could be deadlines, due to external circumstances that we have to meet. So really it's around, we've got our checklist, but in those first 90 days, it's us getting to know each other, what you like, how you like to work, how you want things to run. We go away and build that accordingly, and we're just building a relationship over 90 days that set the foundation on how we're going to work together in the future.
And what is the agent's role in their first 90 days from that launch date?
I would say to direct a little bit of traffic. We need to know some things around preferences and stuff like that. But otherwise, just go and work as hard as you can to get as much momentum as you possibly can so that when we're launching, you're launching with listings, you're launching with activity.
And once they've launched,
Same thing.
That first 90 days.
That first 90 days is work as hard as you can to meet as many people as possible. And I would say that the trick to that is not getting distracted by too many external things like social media and AI and tech and all. It's all important, but really the first 90 days should be around getting on the phone and getting into doors.
Yeah.
It's
Absolutely.
back to basics.
We've seen the most successful launches from agents be the ones that literally just do the fundamentals that we all know, that we hear all the time from every coach and trainer, from every training session we've ever been to from the start of real estate. This many, more calls, more contacts, be in more living rooms. The agents that launch the best and have that immediate success, they're just doing that stuff. Right.
Correct.
And we've got a plan that we give our agency owners for their first 90 days and then 6 months, which, includes things like notifying in every way possible, text, email, phone call, even door knock,
Letter.
all the homes they've ever sold,
Yep.
the owners of those homes, which were their buyers, all of the sellers of those homes, notifying them in every way that they can, and anyone that they've ever been through, every home that they can remember that they've been through, getting in touch with those people to reappraise and reconnect and let them know about their new venture.
Even just those activities is enough to set you up for success.
Yeah, those three that I just mentioned, for an agent that's been doing this for 5 years and may have sold, 200 to 300 homes, that's 5 to 800 contacts, warm contacts right there that will take them 90 days to get through, working really hard. And just by doing those activities alone, they'll always come out with 6 to 10 listings just from doing that.
And a lot of people say, like agents in our agency, that are just starting out, they say, oh, what do I call about? And it's like, okay, well, these agents, you've just started your own brand. All you need to do is say that.
Yeah, just
and you'll be amazed at how many people are really excited and happy for you when.
That's what's really exciting. Most people are quite fearful. Like, what are people going to think? Are they going to think, oh, it's not at all. Everyone is totally stoked with you. The love that you get from all your past clients. Everyone's going for you. When you're this brand new business, everyone's cheering you on. People want to give you a go as well. You know, all your closest clients, they want to give you a go. They're rooting for the underdog. So the support you get with that launch is really encouraging.
Yeah, for sure.
When it comes to marketing a new agency, what do you think are the most effective strategies you've seen for cutting through the noise and getting those first few clients in the door?
Look, I think that's really what we've just talked about. I don't think there's a silver bullet when it comes to marketing. I mean, you're a social media guy. You know that's it's an important factor. But to cut through, it's back to basics.
That's the answer I was looking for. I was testing you because some wanker on the podcast would probably go, oh, you got to go out there and do the best social media post ever. No. I was looking for that exact answer for all the agents listening to this. It's back to basics. That's the most effective cut-through strategy that you can have. It's not your fancy brochure. It's not your Facebook post that you think everyone's watching and commenting on. No. It's building those relationships again, right? And relationships, they disappear. They slowly fade. Just because you sold something to someone and it went perfectly and everyone was happy, and that was 3 years ago, and you haven't talked to them since, another agent can jump in and take that business from you if it's on the table in one phone call, if you've dropped the ball and you haven't been in touch with important people. So that's your silver bullet, isn't it? How important is the agent's personal brand in the launch phase?
It's everything, because the agent is the brand. So I guess when we're building it, the whole discovery exercise is around learning who they are, what their strengths are, how they are out there in the marketplace, and we build the brand around them. Trust is way more important than a logo, so how do we just, build that agent up in a way that, signifies trust out there in their marketplace, so that when they're picking up the phone, making those calls to people, it doesn't matter whether they're, XYZ brand, the client's just happy to hear from that agent.
And personal brand in real estate is so important because, and you'll find this out if you're an agent, if you've ever moved agencies or you've started your own, right? When you leave, you will find that all the people that you have close relationships with you, they will follow you wherever you go. They will go and they will sell with you at your new agency. If you've changed from, LJ Hooker to Ray White or Ray White to McGrath or any combination, it doesn't matter. They don't actually care about what company you work for. They care about the experience that they're going to have with working with you, and they want to work with you. So your personal brand means so much, which is why in real estate it's so important to always have, be working consistently with integrity, doing the right thing, doing what you said you were going to do, performing at your very best.
They also want to know that you're going to get them the best result though, Dan. And that cuts through everything as well. So
well, absolutely.
You need to
but that also comes into your personal brand, right? Yeah,
but making sure that that's what you're communicating out there, that you are ethical, trustworthy, and all of those things, but also that you're the best person for the job because you're going to get them the most amount of money.
What can an agent do to prove that?
Oh, that's a tough one. It's just all the underlying communication that you put out there in the marketplace without being arrogant or distasteful, I would say.
Nice. Testimonials are a great way.
Yeah.
Showing how many offers you had on a property is a great way. Rather than just
case
going
studies.
Street record.
Yeah.
Please no more street records, all right? Property values will always go up in price. Street records will always happen forever. It's not a big deal, okay? Get that in your head, agents. So once an agency is launched, the focus shifts to operations a little bit, right? So what are the top 3 systems or processes for a new agency owner that they must implement to ensure a smooth day-to-day operation?
Look, I would say it's pretty similar to how you would structure your EBU. You need to have clear roles and responsibilities, and communicate that to everybody. You need to have clear structure around time. Yeah, I don't think, essentially as an EBU, you are a little business inside of a business. So I don't think much should really change in terms of how you set yourself up. But just, making sure that you are investing in the right people and the right support team, it will clear the air for you to focus on what you're doing.
Nice. And I love that clear roles and responsibilities part. As your team grows, when you're an agent, you put on one associate. It's easy. You don't even really need to have much clear structure because you're just like, can you just do this, 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 and this, and I'll do this, 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 and this. But then you add a third person. And it's like, oh, okay, who's doing what now?
Yes.
And there's a little bit of like stepping on each other's toes a little bit. Oh, I thought I was doing that. No, you're doing that. No. There's a little. So you got to get a little bit clearer. And then you get a fourth person on your EBU, and things can get really scrambled at that point.
Correct.
And people start thinking, oh no, I'm better at that thing. He should do this, and people, then personalities come into. So you probably before you launch a business, it's probably a good idea to have at least had an EBU because that's like sort of the start of that leadership journey and
yeah, I'd agree. And we often sit with even the agents in this office to help them revisit roles and structure. And who's doing what. And I think it's also about recognizing strengths as well.
Yeah.
Quite often you might start a sales associate as the first option and then, you put on your third person, but, maybe your sales associate was better suited to the administrative type of activities in the first place. So, really what you should be going out there and finding is more of a co-agent kind of person rather than a someone that's doing the admin, because really that's what your sales associate wants to do long term anyway. So it's about always having those conversations with your team and make sure that everyone's happy with the roles that they're doing, because if they're not happy, they're not going to do them well.
Yeah, exactly. What you set up in the interview may not be where they end up, right?
Yeah, correct.
The role can change over time, and I think that's really important what you said, identifying each of your team members' strengths and weaknesses, what they like and dislike doing, and then what they are good at and what they like at doing. Just get them to do way more of that, and place each person in that sort of slot that they're gonna do way better at. So, as an agency starts to grow, the culture can change as more personalities jump on board, people come and go. How do you advise agency owners to intentionally build and maintain a positive and productive culture in their company?
I wish I had the silver bullet for this one. It's something that you and I talk about all the time, and it happened with Dom and I at Colliers. Everyone loves that small agency family vibe that you get in the beginning, that it's one of the funnest times in your business journey, but obviously growth is inevitable. So how do you protect that family-like culture? Because the people in your team, they might not have the same growth aspirations as you as the business owner. So what do you do to protect it? Look, set your values early and communicate them regularly. You want to make sure that you're doing culture building activities quarterly as a minimum. You want to make sure that as the owner and leader of the business that you're available to people when they need you, and you know, when you are with them, you're actively listening and you're showing interest and all of those sorts of things. I would say slow to hire and then quick to remove anyone that doesn't align with the culture of the business. That's really important, because someone that's in your business that doesn't have the best intentions for the business it can be a disaster. So I think you want to be really aware of, you know, what's going on in your team and be quick to make a call when it needs to be had.
Yeah. Once it gets to a certain size, it can be very difficult to have eyes on everything.
Yep. So you have the right structure around you to support that. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I'll just add, because those were all very good points, but I think as leaders of the business, whoever the top leaders are in the business, need to be showing up daily and consistently with a good attitude.
Yeah.
There's always turmoil in business as the owner, and you can walk around saying no one understands what I'm going through, and you can be all miserable about it. Or you can take the high road and go, this is the life I chose. Yeah, there's turmoil, because that's what business is, and I'm going to have fun with it, and I'm going to have a good day, and I'm going to be in a good mood no matter what happens.
Yeah.
Because it isn't easy being at the top. It's stressful. There's a lot of stuff on your plate. There's lots of stress, but I think it's how you deal with that, and that it all filters down, right? The leaders of the business, their attitude, their energy, that filters down to how everyone else feels.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. You've got to walk in and set the intention for the day.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. What's been the most rewarding part about your role in helping agents build their own business?
It would just be the growth. So growth in numbers and growth in people. So growth in numbers, like I watch the numbers of all our agencies very closely. And I would say that, some of them, a large majority of them now actually are having their best years ever in real estate. And that's really exciting to be a part of that and to, help them along on that journey. But also the growth in the people. So some now agency owners came to us just as high-performing sales agents with little to no idea what they were doing. And to watch them now, 2 and 3 years on, leading teams, growing their business, how they imagined it and explained it to us, 2 or 3 years ago, that's really beautiful to see. And they're now bringing people along on their journey. So, yeah, you're going to hate me describing it like this, but it's like watching your kids grow up.
No, that's very true. And it is the very fruitful part of our business. Like an agent saying that at the end of a deal, the most satisfying thing is the client saying, I did a great job or something like that, which is very true.
Yeah.
It's not all about the money. It's about knowing you did well. You really helped someone out. You get fulfillment out of that.
Yep.
That fulfillment that we get of seeing our agents become agency owners, going through that stressful stage. And then, in year 3, now a lot of them are with us, and year 4, some of them. And we're seeing, their teams really growing. They're making plans to get the new office. They're making plans to, the rent rolls growing, all of these fantastic things.
Yeah.
And, just being part of that's really special, hey?
Yeah, definitely.
So, guys and girls, thank you, Jess. That was wisdom at its finest on growing a small real estate agency into a large one from the ground up. Lots of experience here. Ladies and gents, if you are interested in all about knowing what it takes, what it's like, how we could possibly help you at Plum Partners to start, run, grow your own real estate agency and brand, it's as easy as clicking on the link in the show notes. You'll go through to a landing page. You can put in your details there and submit that, and one of our team will be in touch ASAP. The other easy way is you can just message me on Instagram at Dan_Lee_Plum. Send me a text. Slip into my DMs. Say something raunchy if you want. Nah, don't do that. If you do, it's a joke. I know it's a joke. No one sends me raunchy things.
Wonder why.
Never has. Anyway, it's enough out of me. Thanks for joining. Love your work. Get keen. Stay keen. And I'll see you on the next episode.
Thanks for tuning into the Get Keen podcast. If today's episode got you thinking about starting your own real estate business and building your own brand, Plum Partners may be able to help. Book a call using the link in the show notes, and let's see if we're the right fit to help you create, run, and grow your own real estate brand. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a 5-star review, and follow me on Instagram at Dan_Lee_Plum. Until next time, keep getting keen.